Hello, this is Anonymous, and I would like to briefly talk to you about what is known as the ego. There are a lot of common misconceptions about the ego. Before moving into this explanation, I want to clarify that the ego is not defined by arrogance. It doesn't mean that someone is narcissistic or is vain or has too much pride. There are characteristics of the ego. Ego simply means I. I identify with my body and my personality and the things that are attached or associated to it. It's seeing yourself as a separate individual. I am this, I am that, that is mine. Placing ownership or association with concepts or things to strengthen a sense of self. Identifying with your house that you live in, with the job or occupation that you have. Or attaching to people, expectations, and holding strongly to this identity creates division, eventually feeds fear, isolation, and we do whatever we can to try to protect our boxed-in sense of identity. Once people understand that, it takes away the ego from being a negative word. Disidentifying oneself from the ego does not mean that you lose all of your emotions or feelings, and you don't have any space within yourself for toxic or negative thoughts. It doesn't make you passionless or have some stoical kind of existence. For when one is identified with a particular story or concept, the object of identification is limited. And this is how we limit awareness. We create distinctions. We psychologically defend who we think we are based on personalizing certain thoughts and ideas. All of these things that I speak of comes down to how you can witness your own thoughts and feelings and observe them as they pass by, like clouds moving through an open sky. This way you don't get caught up or set up your reference point to these internal mental conditions, so you don't have to react or be controlled by them. It's important to realize egotism is responsible for all of the selfishness, division, hate, war, fear, greed, and insanity that we see in the world. And as I mentioned before, it starts with consciousness identifying with the mind-body, which is our pseudo-identity. When we do that, the space for love, peace, grace, and unity do not become accessible, for we operate on the mode of fear and separation. And this creates resistance, the feeling of incompleteness, lack, held down to survival mode or opposition when we operate from this obsolete polarized program fed into our minds. We use their words and we use their codes as part of a groupthink mind to define ourselves. And the acceptance of these limited scripts that the matrix system has given us gets us to bend to the will of other egos. When that is achieved, we start to identify with a particular group. And we do what we can through our pain to protect our ego by denying that it even exists within us. We start to project what we don't like about ourselves onto others. The ego is our self-image, nothing but a thought construct. It's artificial. And as long as we accept the ego program, then we are living inside of our minds, as opposed to allowing the ego to slip inside of our witnessing. You will not be fooled when you are aware of what the ego is through living mindfully. Your ego will keep coming back to you again and again. It wants to project fear and doubt so that you cannot find inner serenity or stillness from within. So the ego's program is to allow ourselves to find happiness, love, peace, and truth outside of ourselves. And this is very exhausting. When we are in ego mode, we are not whole as we are. We need something added to our incompleteness, as though the grass is greener on the other side. And we fail to see things as they are. We're seeing things in reverse, actually. So instead of seeing oneness or love, we see fear and separation. And this is the trick that was devised to get ourselves caught up within the deflections of the ego. Every time we try to shed light or presence on the ego, it throws a stick in the bush to shift our focus and attention away from the real culprit, which is our unobserved mind. The game of the ego is to control the narrative and to deflect. As long as it can keep our attention away from the source, then it has all that it needs to keep us in the sunken place of negative self-talk that make us feel unworthy, not good enough. We carry this in our heads, and it's constantly communicating with us 24/7 to build up a self-portrait of what we bought into. So we allow ourselves to be mistreated by others, and we also mistreat people that we feel is separate from us, mainly to manipulate them, control them, to get what we want. I hope this in some way helps.